welcome everyone to another episode of Motorsport Republica with another special guest today, Remy Gardner. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no worries. Good to be here.
Really appreciate yourself and Clara for giving yourself a bit of time during the day.
Yeah, no stress, mate. No stress. It's all part of the job.
That's it. That's it.
Eh?
How's the off season been?
Yeah, it's been good. We had 4 days in testing. So we had 2 days in Jerez and 2 days in Portimao, which went quite well, to be honest. So, we had lots of stuff to test. I did plenty of laps, and we focused a lot on pace. And in the end, we obviously, at the end of each day, we put in qualifying tyres like everyone, and we go for a fast lap, which turned out pretty well in the end as well. So, can't complain. It's looking quite positive. So, looking forward to starting.
That's good. That's really good. What do you do over the off season to kind of take your mind off as well? Motorcycle racing, obviously, there's got to be just more to motorbike racing in your life as well.
Yeah, I honestly, usually like with the GP calendar, I didn't really want to touch a bike throughout December. I'm not going to lie with you, but this year was a bit different. I think like the week after testing or something like that, I went and did some drifting events in my car, and I did an enduro race, and I actually finished third in that, which was cool.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
What's the enduro race?
It's called Enduro Rock. It's a race they do just once a year in Barcelona. Yeah. And there was actually another cool race this weekend close to Andorra that I wanted to do, but obviously I'm here. So it was my first race, and I finished third. So
that's good going.
Yeah, it was not bad. I mean, in my class, I think overall there was like 400 riders, and I finished 11th overall. So
I'd say that still.
Yeah,
that's mad.
So I do like enduro. So looking to do a few more races there. What else I did? I did lots more days of drifting as well, and I had also another little, what do you call it, CRF 100. We did a race in Montmello. So didn't really stop, to be honest.
That's cool.
Kept racing, kept racing, driving, just kept the gasoline pumping, which is
at least it's something different. That's all right. Enduro would be it's so much. Well, we've done a bit of enduro riding, like. No racing.
It doesn't compare. I don't think.
No racing, but especially the other fella Tom, who's normally here. We used to go out twice a week, and it's so much fun. It can be kind of also low risk as well if you're just going through tight singles and stuff like that, just hopping logs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I used to do a lot of motocross, and I broke both my legs racing. Well, not even racing, just training motocross. Yeah. So I had a massive crash. I was the biggest injury of my life. So after that, I said, no more motocross, and I started doing a little bit again. And I was like, it's just good for training. Just go out there, take it easy.
Yeah.
And I think like 2 weeks before the GP test, I was riding. I didn't even crash, bottomed out the front fork and broke my wrist, and had to have surgery on my wrist. So
kidding.
I was like, fuck that. I don't want to be riding motocross anymore. I sold the bike on the spot. I kid you not. I didn't even put it in the van. I was like, who wants it?
There you go.
So literally, I
think that's a sign.
Yeah, exactly. No more motocross, and doing lots of hard enduro now. So it's honestly physically hard enduro is way harder. Like if you push yourself, it's much harder. I've never done anything so physically exhausting in my life.
It's so crazy. And if you just get stuck somewhere and then you can't get up a hill or something like that, you get into the red zone real quick, and then you're just exhausted, and then you're stuck, and you still got to get out.
It's pretty insane, and the level honestly in Europe of hard enduro is pretty high. That's like where the mecca is, to be honest. You get so many mountains, and in Spain as well, you have so many places to do it, and good riders, and it raises your level pretty quick. So there was only one time, like I've never come to the point on a motorcycle of complete exhaustion except riding an enduro bike.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah,
I 100% believe that. And then you see the guys. We always watch it around Erzberg time. You watch Erzberg, and you see the guys like Graham Jarvis's or Teddy Blazuziak's or something like that, and they just roll through everything like it's nothing. And then you kind of watch a guy that's like on YouTube, whatever, and he's just a normal rider.
Yeah, just an everyday rider, but obviously not bad, because if you go on to Erzberg, you have some sort of
of course, you're not going there for fun.
And it just looks horrendous, and then everything bottlenecks.
Yeah,
I watched this one guy, and he made a meal of it. He was going up one of the quarries, couldn't get up. He was like on band the whole way, turns around, then goes head on to someone going back up the hill, loses his front guard. Anyway, he goes like 40 minutes in, and then he gets off his bike, can't get up this hill, has a heart attack, gets carted into the ambos.
No
way. Like,
yeah,
it's so nuts.
It's pretty gnarly. I mean, Erzberg's good, but that's the problem, is it all bottlenecks. And, you can just kind of be sitting there in a line for a while, which is not fun. But I would love to do the Romaniacs. I think that would be awesome. So it's
for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to do that, the silver class. But this year, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, because it's between Most and Portimao. So it's Most, weekend off, which would be Romaniacs, and then Portimao.
You'd be exhausted for the Portugal, that's for sure.
You know, in the end, I got to remember what my real job is. It's racing road bikes. So, but I'd love to do it, but I don't know. I'm not sure. If I take it calm, maybe, and maybe not finish it, but I don't know.
It's probably hard as well. You're a racer at the same time. So like as soon as you put the helmet on and you want to like get going.
That's the problem. You know, that's how I started off that enduro race I did back then. Back in December, I just started. It was it was a 2 hour and 6 minute race. It wasn't hard enduro, but it was a bit more, let's say, rolling enduro, but still pretty hard. I mean, still had some difficult sections, but it was 84 kilometers, the race. It was 2 laps of 88 kilometers of 44 kilometer per lap. And started the race, I think I qualified like 18th or something like that. Started the race like just absolutely flat out, like on the pipe, just absolutely singing. And I was probably like top 5 scratch, like out of those 400 for about 15, 20 minutes. And I just, my arms were just locking up after that. And I was like, not even halfway around the first lap, and I was like, mate, chill. I'm not going to finish this race if I don't just relax. So I actually had to take a breather, like just riding real slow. Yeah. Just to get my heart rate down, get my arms back, and then kind of had to build pace back into it. But it was a bit more rhythm, not, just flat out all the time. And I think I did the second lap just as quick as the first lap, but riding just with that, a bit more flow and pace. So. But the hard enduro stuff is pretty gnarly. I do enjoy it.
It's nuts. And as you said, when your arms lock up and you can't even hold on to the throttle. Like you just feel like the thing's going to whisk you off every moment.
Yeah, and I mean, as soon as you get tired, you start to lose body position. As soon as you lose the body position, you just don't get uphill. It's almost better just to take 30 seconds a minute just to like take a breather, relax, look what you got to do, and then hit it. Without falling back down, having to pick the bike up, and just about not making mistakes. But for training, it's insane. I started doing it for the GP bike because that I felt that really helped me. And I used to go in summer in Spain and go do it some gnarly shit in Spain.
Oh, in the summer,
it was like 35 degrees. I mean, that's where I had complete exhaustion.
That's torture.
Yeah. I mean, it was 4.5 hours, and I took the helmet off after. I just got up this last ridiculous trail, let's say. My mate was waiting for me at the top, which is quite good, and I got to the top just absolutely like hyperventilating. I took my helmet off. I was like just trying to look for a little bit of shade. Like I was I'd never experienced that complete exhaustion before, and it was insane. And just to ride, a few kilometers back to the car was like torture. It was hard work. So.
And you need to have a camelback of water.
Definitely. No, I think we stopped even halfway through those 4.5 hours, I think, to refill. And I got a camelback of 2.5 liters. So I drank like 5 liters of water, 4.5 liters of water. Something stupid like that. So it's gnarly, but I do enjoy it.
It's a good sport. It's an underrated sport as well.
It is, but it is growing. It's gaining a lot of popularity. So it's nice. I live in Andorra. We've got Billy Bolton, Johnny Walker, and all of them there. So which is cool. Got to get out with them.
I'd be terrified of going out with them. It wouldn't be a thing.
I always tell them, I'm like, Billy, come on, take me out. I need you to destroy me. I want you to destroy me. So,
and they're all from like trials backgrounds and stuff like that, aren't they?
Exactly. So I actually started doing trials back in 2018, something like that. And it was actually Clara that got me into trials because she did trials a little bit before me, and I never wanted to ride trials bike. I was like, this is gay. It's still slow and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to ride that. And started getting into it. Then bought a trials bike and started learning, how to do the zones and stuff. And I got pretty good at it actually. So I did 2 or 3 years on a trials bike, and then and then get on the enduro bike. And because I'd done a bit of motocross in the background, I've done trials. It kind of came to me pretty quick, which was cool. And I didn't think I'd like it, but I do. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. It seems pretty infectious, trials and enduro riding, that's for sure.
It is.
Are you on a 300 for the enduros?
Yeah. I'm on. I'm not going to say the brand.
Yeah.
But I want to change. Yeah, I want to change bikes. I'm looking at a Fantic actually. They got the new 300. The new 300 enduro bike. It's a throttle body injected and port injected.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
And it's a Manelli engine, I think.
Okay.
So the nice thing is they're Yamaha frames. So
nice.
Yeah, trying to score a good deal on that.
Ties in well.
Yeah, exactly. Ties in well. So I'm having a look at that at the moment.
Bloody oath.
That'd be awesome. And the drifting, when did you get into that?
I've always liked cars. The first car I bought was my Volvo Amazons from 1969, and it's just a boat. But every time it rained, I used to get out in the roundabouts and get it sideways. So I've always liked cars and drifting. And I remember I used to have Forza 3. I used to have a steering wheel and just be drifting all day in Forza. So that was good fun. And then I bought an Alfa Romeo, like a kind of like a rally spec Alfa Romeo GTV 105 from 1972. And did some track days on that, and that thing I'd get a bit sideways on the street as well, which was fun, and and on the track as well. So, it was a bit more of a race car than a drift car. Well, it is a race car. And then what else? And then so I saw this Volvo 740 for sale. It was super cheap, and it was kind of all kitted out with a handbrake and bucket seats and everything. It was all kind of half done. So I was like, I'll grab that. Only cost me $2,500, and went and picked it up and enjoyed that just like as it was, and then it got a bit boring because it didn't have enough power and the suspension was sloppy and I didn't like it. So put a little bit of money into that, and just a little bit suspension and bigger turbo, and did an engine build on it, a few things, but nothing crazy. And now I've got like a pretty sweet drift car. So it's got 350 horsepower. It's got 64 degrees of steering lock, and
that's awesome.
And coilovers all around, and the thing goes good. So I'm super into it now.
Oh, that's wicked, cool. Man. I love it. That's very cool.
Is there a lot of drift events out in Spain and Europe and all that? Is it pretty big over there, the scene? Or
it's pretty big. In Spain, they do these like events, let's say like shows, and they sell tickets to the public, and they kind of just invite us, which is cool. So we get invited to go along and put on a show, and we get a free track day out of it, basically. And public come out and they get to see the cars, and we get to go have a play around with a bunch of other drivers out there, which is cool.
Burn some tires.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go through 8 or 9 sets, something like that. So. And that's saving the tire.
Yeah. That's mad.
Nursing it. I love it.
How are you finding coming into now 2024?
Yeah, good. We got 1 year of experience under our belt now. Last year wasn't easy. It was completely different, format, different bike, different tires, and it was difficult to get my head around it all. I'm not going to lie, but for about halfway through the season, we kind of had a bit of a technical breakthrough, which was nice, and it was kind of like starting from zero then, to be honest. But you can see from when we had the breakthrough, it was kind of like every race we made a step, and
nice,
all the way to the last race, and we were a few tenths off the podium. So hopefully we can carry that momentum into this year, and put it up the front somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. What's it like? What's the differences between riding Grand Prix to Supers? Because you've obviously done Grand Prix for so many years as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've always raced prototype machines for my whole life, since I was a kid. So it's a different philosophy of riding. Let's say I think that the tires, especially, I come from Dunlops and then Michelin's, which are a really stiff carcass, really stiff tire, low grip. Let's say. The Mitchies were good grip, but still a really stiff carcass. The bikes were stiff. Everything's stiff, and the Superbike is, on a Pirelli, which is a bit like chewing gum. It moves. It's got good grip. It kind of wallows around, but the limit is higher than what you think the tire's giving you. So it's hard. It was hard to kind of find that where that limit was. Let's say. and trust the tires so much. Also, the bikes are obviously a lot, bit more flex in the bike, a bit more play. So everything's moving around a lot more. So, yeah, it's definitely a different way to approach, the way to go fast on a superbike. So it took a bit of learning and took a bit of time to get my head around it. But definitely everything's a bit more on autopilot now. I definitely felt that in the test. It was like I didn't have to try as hard to keep the pace going, throughout each lap. So hopefully, I can get even better in the future. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I followed a little bit more probably than the other two boys, and I was watching closely through those tests, and definitely a lot quicker, which is an awesome sign.
Yeah.
And it's awesome for Australian racing to have someone up there, and hopefully for the whole year. So talk us through your journey into the Grand Prix paddock and stuff like that. How did you start out? Where did it all begin for you?
Yeah, so we moved to Spain when I was 14. I did 3 years in the Spanish Championship, and I then moved from that last year in the Spanish Championship, I moved to World Championships in Moto3. That was in 2015. I raced with a Mahindra in CIP, and it was a really tough year. A really, really tough year. Bike was not fast, and Moto3 engines, pretty much everything. So
yeah.
It was a really tough year. I only scored points one time here at the island. I think I was actually a really fast rider in Moto3, and I was actually really quick. But it was just a struggle and an uphill battle with that bike. But I knew I could be fast. I knew I could do good. But unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to show it that year. And I was already starting to grow up a bit and get a bit heavy. So I said, no, I want to race in Moto2.
Yeah.
I think it'd be better suited to me. We scored a deal with a Moto2 team, which was Italtrans back in the day, but we signed it with the team owners that were basically getting kicked out at the end of the year. We didn't know by the sponsor, which was Italtrans, and the Italtrans people actually run the team now. And we had the deal with those guys, basically. So in the end, they just said, no, we don't have any power anymore. And the Italtrans took other riders. So we were left without a ride in the end of December, like on Christmas Day or something. It was
Geez, talk about timing.
Yeah. So, I was out of a ride. So I actually went back to the Spanish Championship in Moto2, and I did a few races there. And basically, from the get-go, I was cleaning up on the Moto2 bike in the Spanish Championship. And, won some races, a few poles, and it was going well. And I think, what was it, after Montmello or something like that, Tonucci was racing with Tasca Racing, and something happened. They had a falling out, and he left halfway through the year, and Tasca called me up, thanks to actually Elaine, who was actually the boss of CIP, was convinced him to say, take Remy, he's good, take Remy, he's good.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had him, which was nice. So, and they took me for the rest of the year in Tasca Racing. So I did half a year in 2016 with Tasca Racing, and I did pretty good. I think I qualified 8th in Malaysia and all. So in the first year in Moto2, it's not it's not horrible. So I managed to score a contract with Tech 3 for the 2017, the complete 2017 season. And that was a struggle. That was a struggle. But managed to renew with them, luckily, because there was no interest from anywhere else. The second year was much better. We figured out that we had a problem with our chassis of 2017, just with my chassis, not with the other ones for some reason. For some unknown reason. And we got off to 2018, much better start. Yeah. And, I think we finished 6th in Argentina and had some good top 10 races, and then broke my legs and then missed a few rounds. And
Buddy motocross.
Yeah, motocross. So managed to get back pretty quick and continue to do some decent results with the bike and package I had, and managed to score a contract with Stop and Go, which were running Calix and Olands and Brembo and everything that you want. So I managed to score that, and it was a 2-year contract. And the first year, I think I was not getting paid anything, but I said, I don't care, I just want the bike. So it was good. So managed to score that, and I think the second race we were on the podium. So yeah, it was kind of like my time to shine. Then the rest of the year was a bit of a duff. You know, I was a bit excited, let's say, to have, you know, that podium and all the gear to go out and win, and kind of, yeah, I was crashing a lot. I was making a lot of mistakes, and yeah, it was a good learning year for me, that's for sure. But yeah, the second year with Stop and Go was really good. That was COVID, so 2020. I think we finished 5th or something like that in Qatar, and then we had those back-to-back hot races in Jerez, which were the first races back from COVID.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was really tough. I think the first race I finished 7th, which I was quite happy about because we just didn't have the speed. And the second race, I think 10th or 11th. But from there on, we really improved. And I think we had, a total of 4 or 5 podiums and a victory on the last race of the year.
Yeah, you did. That's right.
So,
what was it like just on that, being in Europe, I guess, through COVID, and then that season? Obviously, 2020 was so different to everything else. What was it like for you guys?
For me, it was okay. Yeah, I didn't mind it, to be honest. That's
fair.
It was good because I got a workshop with the cars and stuff that was pretty close to home, and it was my business, and I could kind of write up my own notes saying I need to go to work. And
nice.
Perfect.
That's good. That's a good setup.
I would get out every day and go to the workshop, basically. Yeah. So it was pretty fun, and yeah, I don't think Clara was having the best of times. She was at home, bored without me, and I'd get in trouble for being too long.
Standard.
So yeah, in the end, I like pull her by the hair and get her out to the workshop, and actually we painted the engine bay, me and her.
Oh, nice!
Oh, that's amazing.
Cars, so we sanded all that back ourselves, and I got her working in the workshop with like a little minion in the end. So it was all right. I had a good time. What else did we do? We made a little veggie garden as well. We found some pallets and stuff, so we made up a little veggie garden box in the backyard. Nah, it was all right.
So you made the most of it.
Yeah, no, I had good fun, and played PlayStation with mates. It was good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Tell you what, better than being in Australia, that's for sure. It was shit house in Melbourne.
Yeah, I know. Get told off for walking out your front door.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't allowed to walk out the door in theoy. We weren't allowed to leave, but, you know, you can kind of get around the rules.
There's ways around it.
You can get away around the rules, and especially in Spain.
I believe it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
G'day, guys. James here from Motorsport Republica. Our brand new t-shirts have dropped. So we have Marquez, we've got Daniel Ricciardo, we've got Verstappen, Charles Leclerc in men and women, and a Gent Lawrence, Hunter Lawrence double champs tee. Jump onto motorsportrepublica.com.au, check out our new tees. We've got air freshener still on there. Go on our socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's all on there. Make sure to check it out. All your support means everything. Thanks, guys. Yeah, it was just interesting seeing it from, I guess, afar, and like MotoGP was the only thing that got us through, because everything in Melbourne, we were like the most locked down city in the world at one stage. It was good just to watch something on a Sunday night, I guess, and follow something, you know.
Absolutely, kept us from going insane.
Yeah, still got a bit insane, but still.
Yeah, I was fine. I know everyone else was going insane, but I was having a great time at the workshop every day.
That's the way to do it, though, I guess. At least you got something keeping you busy, then it works. What about exercising and stuff? Were you still keeping up date? Like, did you do cycling or something back then?
Yeah, I had a stationary bike, so I'd get on a stationary bike, and I was running around my front yard, around my yard as well. I'd do laps around the yard, and actually I was actually riding my trials bike in my garden as well. So yeah, I put some, like I said, those pallets, found some bunch of pallets out in the back of the street, and just put out some obstacles and stuff, and I was riding my trials bike around pretty much every day for an hour or two.
That's so good.
Just in the front garden. And I remember the neighbours coming out on their balcony, and I was like, am I annoying you? And they're like, that's great. It's a show for us. It's entertainment. I was like, all right, perfect.
Beautiful.
So they were happy about it. So, yeah, honestly, I kept riding bikes. I kept doing a bit of exercise. I was working in the workshop. Nothing really changed to me.
Shit, that's good.
There you go.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, can't complain.
Yeah.
And then from that year, moving into KTM the year after, how was that for you?
Yeah, so obviously the good results, scored me a deal with Aki, which was, it's kind of the dream team to be in Moto2, Moto3. So, yeah, I moved in with Ayo, and we kind of carried that momentum, let's say, from that 2020 year into 21, and we started off with a bang. I mean, we finished back-to-back seconds in Qatar, and nearly got the win with Sam on the last lap in Qatar. So yeah, and then I don't know how many podiums we had that year, and a few victories as well, and obviously brought home the title. So it was a good year.
Bloody oath.
What's the feeling like crossing the line, knowing you've just become the world champion?
Yeah, it was definitely emotional. Let's say that. I remember coming out of the last corner, and I could see the finish line. It was kind of like in slow motion. I saw everyone on the pit wall, and it was like, it was very emotional. So definitely a few tears came to my eyes by myself in the helmet. But when I got to stop in front of all my mates and everything, and Clara was there, and they gave me the shirt and the helmet. That was it was pretty cool. So did a nice little burnout there. Held the thing on the limiter for a while, which was fun.
Nice.
That was good fun, and it was pretty cool moment. Definitely one that'll stay with me my whole life. But definitely looking for another one of them.
Oh, for sure.
100%. I guess you're just always chasing it, aren't you? It was very cool to watch, and like amazing season, and so good to have. Obviously, like we're biased, an Aussie up there again, but doing it on like that factory Akiayo's bike.
It was so good.
So good. What do you do with the? Do you have? Do they give you the bike?
No, I said to Aki, if I win the championship, I get it. I get the bike, right? And he's like, yeah, of course. You can have it. And I was like, oh, perfect. Thanks, mate. And he's like, and then I'll send you the invoice after by email. You bastard. So no, I got the what do you call it? The nose current of the bike.
That's cool.
The one that I finished Valencia with. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you know what they do with the bike?
I think Aki kept it. Yeah, he's got like a little showroom, so he's got.
Right. We'll have to.
You have to rate his
place and get it back.
Exactly.
What about you got the gold helmet and everything like that? Do you have that framed or something like that?
I got the gold helmet. I got it in my house up on a bit of a thing. With the World Championship champagne bottle and all the first place trophies of that year, I think.
That's cool.
And also the medal as well. So
that's dope.
But it's kind of just in the corner of the house.
Oh man, if it was me, I'd be having it like at the entrance. Everyone can see it. Some candles lit around it.
It's all right. I don't know. Who cares? It's all in the past now. I need some new ones now.
Yeah, fair enough.
I like the attitude.
What's it like? Obviously you're in a title fight with Rail. As a teammate, does it get tense in there? Or?
Yeah. It was intense. Definitely, it was very intense year. It was something new to me, that's for sure. But I think I handled it pretty well, to be honest. The start of the year was quite easy. It was pretty chill, Me and Raul were getting on, and he was like, yeah. This year's just for me to learn from you. And I'm like, yeah, cool, perfect. But didn't expect him to be so fast, so quickly, and obviously he's got a lot of talent, and he's a very fast rider. So he picked up real fast, was beating me real fast, which was, concerning. And in the end, it was kind of me and him that was running away with the championship. So it kind of, halfway through the season, it was, okay, looks like it's going to be a bit of a championship battle between me and him. And he didn't let off all year. So, it definitely, everything got quite separated in the box from about halfway through the year. Everyone was kind of doing their own thing. Even the mechanics everything was separated. And, definitely felt the tension, especially, the last 4 or 5 races. It was very intense. But, I always kept everything, I tried to keep everything respectful in the box and, obviously, you can still say hello in the morning and how are you, and that's it, and obviously I'd like to leave everything on the track, and that's it, not play silly games in the box. So my part was, I think I did pretty well, and just kept to myself. Obviously, we're not best mates in during those times, but before the race in Valencia, I opened the door and I went in. I shook his hand. I said, may the best win and good luck to you. You had an amazing season, and whatever happens. I said, good luck. And that's it.
That's amazing.
That's cool. That's nice. That's nice. And like, it has to be just natural though. Like, especially as just teammates, like it's always just, if it's coming down to the last 5 races or last race, like it's only natural that everyone's going to be a little bit standoffish. Like there's a lot on the line.
Yeah, definitely. I think from my part, I was not. I was fine. You
Yeah.
know, I didn't really. You know, in the end, you know, I feel like you can still have a normal human relationship with someone and leave it out on the track. But obviously, you're not going to show them everything and
Yeah,
not going to
of
be,
course.
you know, their best friend. But I think you can still have respect as a normal human
Yeah.
being. So I think, you know, my part was, I did pretty well, I think. So, but yeah, obviously, technically, you're not going to tell them anything, you know.
Yeah.
Technically, you're not going to show anything. In the end, you're out there to win and everyone, and it's every man for himself, isn't it? But,
Yes.
but yeah, it was definitely intense. Let's say that.
Yeah, I can see that. And then jumping on to obviously the prototypes, what was it like first riding one of those bikes? Like it must be such a massive step up from even the Moto2 bike.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'd ridden thousands, you know, my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, it's training bikes, and I'd ridden, you know, the fastest bikes in the world basically. But the first time I got on the KTM was in Misano, and it was nothing like I've ever ridden before.
Yeah.
You know, it's just insane. I mean, the power's just ridiculous. You know, it's you know, now with all these ride height systems and all that, the acceleration from the corners is just, you know, it's insane. The first time I rode, I just couldn't believe it. You feel like you're just doing warp speed, you know.
Yeah.
It's just tunnel vision, you know, and it's crazy. So, yeah, like I said, I'd ridden the fastest bikes in the world, but nothing compared to that. So, yeah, it was definitely an eye-opener. I did enjoy myself the first time, but and I said, oh, you don't need more power, this thing. And I remember Paco was saying, yeah, you wait, you'll see. When you start getting after a few days and the Ducati passes you down the straight, you'll start asking for more power. And I was like, oh yeah, at the moment I don't need it. And I remember after a few days of testing in Malaysia, I was like, this thing's slow, we need more power. It just becomes normal after a while.
Yeah, there you go. So you were on previous year's bike, not the full factory bike, or not even?
I don't even know, honestly, because, you know, it's look, if you're not in the factory team, there's always going to be a difference. Doesn't matter what they tell you.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what they tell you. So it's just the way it's always been in racing. So
Yeah. Just got to read between the lines, I guess.
yeah, I mean, in the end, you got the same bike, and it's just not. It's just not.
Yeah.
You know, it's just you know, when you've been racing for, you know, so long, you know how it goes, you know how it works, and you talk to any ex racer, and they'll tell you the same thing. So, yeah, who knows what I was on? Who knows what they had and we didn't? Who knows?
It's kind of like Chris with the tires.
The tyre situation of Chris.
Extra numbers and
Oh, yeah, I know. I know there was especially in the past, you know, the tire situation. I don't know nowadays with the Michelin stuff how that all works, but honestly, personally, I think in Pirelli and Superbikes, what I've seen so far looks pretty even match, and we don't get many dud tires either, which is
okay.
Yeah, I probably had only one or two out of the whole year last year.
Yeah. And with a dud tyre, do you just feel that straight away, like going out?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's
Pretty
interesting. It's like when Jorge Martin had that dud tyre, they reckon, in, I think it was Qatar.
Off the line.
Off the line that span up. But yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. Jumping on
Only the Illuminati knows.
the MotoGP Illuminati.
Exactly.
That's funny.
There's no point in going crazy over it.
The tyre gods.
You're never going to know. So
It's never going to come out.
you do the best to keep everything in your control, and that's all you can do.
That's it.
What's it like jumping on those GP bikes though, with like learning all the ride height device buttons? Like, does it take a while to wrap your head around all that?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to take in and learn. I thought it'd take longer, to be honest, but it kind of shows, you know, as a rider, you can adapt pretty quickly, honestly. I think 2 days and it was pretty much good.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 days after 2 days in Malaysia, it was kind of like second nature, to be honest. So
Okay, there you go.
yeah, it was
That's
pretty
interesting.
fast. Yeah.
Is there much difference between your current bike and what you were on there in terms of your buttons and your settings and all that kind of jazz?
My current Superbike?
Yeah, your current Superbike.
Compared to the GP bike?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, the Superbikes, basically, mapping-wise, electronics-wise, we have more options
Okay.
than the GP bike, because the GP bike is, you know, capped, basically. You know, they have a rule, basically, with the ECU. Superbike's open. You can run whatever you want. So, the GP bike had less maps, had less... it had less maps. So we got 5 maps on each system here, and we got 4 systems. In GP, you have 3 systems and 3 maps.
Okay.
The GP bike obviously has the ride height device.
Yeah.
And we don't have that. And we don't have the launch control device on the front, which I think maybe this year or next year they're taking off. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think
next year.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is next year.
So yeah, we don't have that, but we do have neutral, gate, lockout, and everything else. And I got a rear thumb brake as well, and everything else is the same.
Yeah. Okay. So there are some similarities.
Yeah.
Just don't have the ride height device.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's probably a bit refreshing as well.
It is. It's good. It's a real motorbike. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a Formula One bike. Let's say.
That's true. We keep saying that.
This is why Superbikes is where it's at.
It is. No air. The aero on MotoGP is too much.
It's just, mate, I was seeing the photos this year from the test. I was just like, fuck.
That front wing thing, the front wing on the front tyre guard.
On the mud guard, on the forks. It's just,
Now on the
it's
back.
ridiculous. I mean, honestly, it's just, first of all, they look like crap. Like
100%.
Thank you.
100%.
I look like crap. Like, if I'm honest with you, I think my Yamaha looks way nicer.
It does.
Way
Yeah,
more
it
beautiful
does.
bike. Where you take the Ducati, it just looks so much better than the GP Ducati for me, They're getting bigger, so they're getting wider, they're getting longer. Everything's lower, wider wheelbase. Everything's getting just massive now, and they're going Formula One direction. And what does that mean? That means there's less space on the track. That means it's harder to pass.
Yep.
You got dirty air. You got all this shit that comes behind with all that, and it's just it creates less racing.
Did you find that in MotoGP compared now to Superbikes when you were racing in GP that there was more dirty air? Like you could feel the aero?
100%.
Yeah.
And I was there when it was still not crazy. I imagine that, like the last year and this year. I mean, I can't even imagine what it's like. I mean, you watch, and as soon as someone's behind somebody in the braking zone, they're gone. Ciao. See you later.
That's it.
You're right.
It's a different mentality now. I think, and it's hard to pass. It's just really hard to pass, and I think it doesn't create good racing anymore. So
Correct. And
if you want to see good racing, watch Superbikes. It's a million times better.
It's just so much closer for so many more. The whole race.
Yeah, exactly. The whole race. And, the difference between bikes and riders, I think, is there's still a bit of variables there. And that is what creates the good racing.
Of course.
So, yeah, I think also the Superbikes, they move a lot more. They spin for me a bit more because the tire allows it. I think, we got way more stoppings. We don't have all these aero devices, and it just creates a more authentic feel, I think.
Definitely.
And looking from an outside as well, I remember saying to Daniel on a previous pod, when you watch Superbikes, it does look like they're fighting the bike a whole lot more and like really, it looks like they're on the edge almost a lot more as well and really riding it compared to a GP bike, especially if someone's just out in front. They're quite obviously just
like
smooth
rails,
and on rails.
That's the way you're going to ride a GP bike, unfortunately. It's riding it on rails and riding the bike to keep the bike happy. That's what you need to do. It's riding the bike to keep all the systems in control. And with the Superbike, it's ride the bike as fast as you can. Full stop.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
So coming into this season, obviously, some pretty big additions to the field and a few rule changes as well. What are your thoughts on some of the guys that have come across and come back into the sport and the rule changes to make it sort of more even playing field, I guess?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of, let's say, two minds in the weight rule, let's say. I guess you're asking that one. I'm personally for it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a big boy, so I've always been a big boy. Even in Moto2, I was 10 kilos over the minimum weight, rider and bike. So that was always hard for me. And I always thought it would be a struggle for me in Moto2 to win a championship because of that. I did it in the end, so it is possible.
Yeah.
But if I'm honest with you, I think the weight difference is maybe a bit too much in Superbikes between the lightest guy and the heaviest guy. So I think it's not a bad thing, honestly. I think people who really understand racing can understand that's fair. Obviously, some guys are not going to be very happy with it, but I think it kind of levels the playing field, and I don't think it's a ridiculous limit they've set. I think they've set something pretty average.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair.
It's pretty fair, and I'm still over that. I'm still, 5 kilos over that.
Okay.
So, there are, I think talking to most guys, they're on the limit, and I think that's kind of fair, to be honest. In the end, if you're that much lighter, honestly, okay, they put the argument up of, you can ride a bike harder if you're stronger, and you can control the bike better for more laps and blah, 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 blah. But it's just not true. I mean, the bikes are so good these days. They're 4 strokes. They ride themselves. We got electronics. They're pretty easy to ride. You don't need to be a monster to ride them. And being heavy, you use more tires, you use more fuel,
of course,
and you are putting more stress on everything, on brakes, because you're heavier, and you got to accelerate that weight. You got to stop that weight more every corner. So in the end, that's a big difference, and you do feel that difference.
it all adds up.
It does. It all adds up.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So I do think it kind of levels the playing field. And honestly, I think it'll just get a bit better racing, if I'm honest with you. And I think that's what everyone wants.
That's what everyone watches for, is for good racing.
Exactly. It'll bring the field, I think, closer together. I think that's what everyone wants, don't they?
Definitely.
100%.
Take it to Ducati.
Yeah. That's it. How do you find the 3 races over the weekend as well?
Yeah, it was definitely a different format for me. I've never done that before, so it took me a while to get my head around. If you have one bad race, it's kind of like forget it, move on, because you got 2 to go.
Yeah.
Also, the race weekends, it's a different timetable, and I'm so used to my timetable from the GPs that they've never changed over the last 15, 20 years. So it's it was tough for me to kind of get into the groove of wake up, do this at this time, do this, but it's coming now. So it's definitely a bit more normal, but I do enjoy it because you got so many races. It's actually kind of nice. You have one shitty race and you can just forget about it and move on to the next one.
Yeah, redeem yourself through
exactly.
the weekend.
You can still make something of the weekend, even if it's you've had one bad race.
Yeah, that's it. That's all right. You can still get a win. Still get another 2 wins.
Exactly. I mean, you can crash in race 1 and still go out and have a good sprint race. Finish top 5, start 4th. 2 guys crash in front, or you have a good race and you're on the podium the second 100%. Race. And it's you can still make a good race out of it.
Yeah, it's a great point. That really is, and a good way to think about it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Which it wasn't easy for me to do that, because after like in a GP race, you have a bad race, it's like depression for a week.
Legit. Yeah. What was it like? Was it? I must have been over the summer. You were at Rossi's ranch doing a ride there. How was that?
Our winter.
Winter, your winter.
It was freezing there. That was cool. So I went and did that race, and I was teammates with Pedro, which was real good fun. And it's very different dirt track than what I come from. So even in Spain, I was used to doing a different type of dirt track as well. So I struggled. I mean, it wasn't too bad. But I struggled. It was kind of the track is basically cement underneath, and they put like a small layer of dirt on top of that, and then water it, and then it kind of gets polished off every time you go around, and it's kind of cement, but it's really slippery. Really, really, really slippery. And they're on the 19-inch tires as well, on those Maxxis things, and I've never ridden them. So, it was very, very different for me. Okay. But it was okay. I didn't do too bad. Not too bad. I think we finished 11th or 12th, me and Pedro, so not too bad. And on the Friday night, we had the Americana race, they called.
Yep.
So it was... they separate all the riders, so it was into two races, and the first race was basically all the slow guys, and I think I qualified 4th or something like that out of the slow guys. And so it's 2-lap races, and it's 2 laps. After the 2 laps, checkered flag, last 4 guys eliminated, and you do that until you get to the last
man standing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, to the last row. And the first race I started, I was out there, probably like 3rd, 4th, something like that, and some guy took me out.
Beyond
hitting.
I managed to pick up the bike fast enough, start it, get back past one guy, which was 3rd last, and get out of the drop
That's
zone.
awesome.
Nice.
And get out of the drop zone, and I made it through to the next round, and I actually made it all the way to the last race. So front row, I think I finished 3rd on that second last race, and made the whole shot. I was leading the race for the whole race, which was actually 4 laps instead of 2. That last one, and Ferran Cardus passed me on the last lap, but it was 1st and 2nd. So the first 2 guys went to the next round, to the fast group, which was all the Valley guys and Valentino and all the VR guys. And I survived 3 rounds in that as well. So it was actually, I had a really good night there.
Yeah,
that's
awesome,
good fun. So, I really enjoyed it myself. It was a cool place. And Valley's such a cool guy. He took us in and, he's just chatting to you like a normal person, which is cool. So, yeah, he's definitely still a hero in my eyes.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And what was it like partnering up, I guess, with Pedro as well? Because you're pretty close with him, aren't you?
Yeah, it was good. I wasn't going to go, but Pedro was like, come on, let's go. You can be my partner. And I was like, all right, let's go.
Twist my arm.
Yeah, exactly. Twist my arm. Because I didn't go the previous years because I didn't know what I was doing. Maybe enduro riding or something.
Trials in your backyard.
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, come on, let's do it. I was like, fine, all right, let's go. Let's try. So Yamaha actually organised me a bike, which was good, and I said, all right, let's do it. And it was good fun. So I enjoyed myself. I'll probably go there again.
Yeah, bloody oath, man. You can take us, we'll sneak in your luggage.
That looks like a pretty cool environment to be in. Looks like everyone's having a good laugh and it's a good like little party sort of thing.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice because it's only basically, some special invitations and there was a bit more public this year, but, the people who could get in the pit area with us was like, we only had one pass of each rider. And it was like only people that are close to riders and everyone's just relax, there's no one there like asking for photos and all that.
Yeah, that would be the last thing you'd want anyway, especially for Valentino.
At the end of the event, they opened it up and, it was a bit of a brawl, but it was okay. It was quite chill, the whole
nice.
event. It was cool.
Yeah, wicked.
It's cool that I guess he does that as well. And there's quite a few of those things, I guess, now, but like bringing heaps of riders in and doing a whole event, like you don't have to do that, but it's cool to see.
Yeah, he doesn't have to, he can just keep it close, but, it's cool. He puts on a good event, invites, some characters from around the world and even get, pays for hotel and everything for us. So
wow.
it's awesome. No,
awesome.
It's really cool. He puts on a really good event and, he's just such a cool guy. He's so laid back. It's awesome.
That is cool. Bloody oath, man. And you never really hear a bad thing about him. Like whoever was spoken to is always like laid back, nice, wants to know you. Like Damo Cudlin's got a funny story, tells on one of our podcasts, and he calls him up in the middle of the night saying, "Ciao, Damo. Let's party in the middle of Japan." And he's like getting his missus out of bed, like we're gonna go meet up with Valet. And it's just like that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool. He's what surprised me, he knows everything about everyone and about everything.
I've heard that as well, funny enough.
Everything. He's like an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And he studies everything what's going on right now, who's with what. Me and Pedro went to talk to him. He's like, he wanted to know everything about when I was there with the KTM, what he's there now, what was the difference, what about the electronics and this and that. Just wants to know everything about racing.
Interesting.
Just a real student of the sport, I guess.
Yeah. Everything. And like he just knew everything about the Superbikes as well, what I was doing with, my crew chiefs. He just knows, everyone, everything. Just wants to know, just wants to be informed about everything.
Wow. That'd be pretty cool feeling for yourself as well, a guy of his stature knowing what's
cool.
going on.
Yeah, it was nice when he was like, oh yeah, I know who they are. Yeah. Oh, that's good. And he was asking me about, what's the difference between the Superbike and the GP bike and how the tires and blah, blah, blah. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, wicked. And you were saying he's one of your heroes. Who else did you draw inspiration from and look up to coming through the ranks, and to this day still, if you do?
Yeah, definitely Valentino was, up there for me. I did like Casey as well. I loved how he rode, and I think I take a little bit of inspiration from how he rides, and I feel like I ride a little bit, like him, always with the rear tire, which is cool. Casey and Jorge. I liked Jorge as well. And
nice.
Yeah, who else? Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, sick.
Jorge's he's a good one. Like I always talk about it, but when obviously he was up against Rossi, so like a lot of people were obviously on Rossi's side, but you got to respect how he rode. Like some of those races, he was like Mr. Rails.
Yeah, insane. Just hammering out lap times.
Yeah,
within 1/10 every single lap for the whole race.
Yeah,
for me that was impressive. So
very impressive.
He had some very impressive races, so that was pretty cool from Jorge as well.
Man, he seems like a cool guy. Are you going to be following on with Pedro, watching his season? Hope he does well.
Definitely. I didn't watch many GP races last year, if I'm honest with you. I watched the Moto2 races to follow Pedro, but looks like I have to start watching GP races again, but just for Pedro, because honestly the racing is not very good to watch.
Follow him. hopefully he does well. We're big fans. I actually, funny enough, I named my cat after Pedro Acosta. I call him Pedro. You can tell. I was going to tell him that at GP, and then I got nervous and didn't. So we're like, who's this weirdo telling me about this?
He's cool. He's cool.
Yeah, he's going to be great to watch. Exciting anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
So big weekend, round 1. What are you expecting? Track's been resurfaced. Any feedback that you've gotten from other people? What are we expecting?
Not too much feedback, but I've heard it's quite abrasive, the new surface. So we'll see. I mean, we got testing tomorrow that will be, primarily just to let's see how the surface is, if we can do the amount of laps that we need to. Hopefully we don't have to do a flag to flag for the races. So I think the goal is to try and get everybody to do 22 laps on a tyre without them exploding, basically. So that'd be important.
Yeah, not like Top Rack last year when he's exploded.
Yeah, not like Most. Yeah, but that was a bit of a strange situation.
It was very odd.
I had actually a couple of blisters like that as well. Luckily, it didn't explode.
Yeah.
One more lap and mine might have gone as well. Because I started dropping for the last 3 laps in that race because I started feeling vibrations from the tyre.
Yeah, wow.
And I thought, man, if I don't let off here, I'm not going to finish. So I had to just relax a bit and just try to manage that gap from the guy behind me. And I just dropped because I started feeling that I felt that, we're missing a chunk from the tire. And I was like, here we go. And started losing massive grip. And I thought, if we don't roll
just
off
bring it home.
Yeah, exactly. Just bring it home, which was still a good race. I think we finished 5th or 4th or 6th. I don't know, 5th maybe.
Yep.
So it was the best result to that day. So, but it was a bit weird because we didn't. It was not actually on the limit for the rubber. I can't even remember what the story was. Something weird happened. It was overheating, like in just certain spots of the tire. I can't even remember because we did have a bit of a, let's say, prototype tire. I think that was a prototype tire in Most that worked well. Like we thought would work really well and make the race, but didn't. We got to see for Phillip Island. So hopefully we can do those 22 laps tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
In testing.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll see. But it'll only get better. The track will get better when there's more rubber down.
Yeah.
We take off those sharp edges off the asphalt.
Yeah.
It'll only get better. So hopefully,
that's cool.
We don't have to be changing tires halfway through the race.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's already done that GP once.
Yeah.
And
they change bikes, not tires.
They got to change tires. It's pretty interesting to watch, actually.
That's right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see it from the top of the pits, like how it all gets done. It's awesome.
I had to do it one time in Most, actually, as well, on the Saturday. I started with wet tires because it was wet. Track was wet, and it looks like it was going to rain again. So I was like, we'll go wet. Didn't rain, dried up in 2 laps. I had to come and put slicks on.
And you got to be in for a certain amount of time as well?
You have to be in for a certain amount of time, but it's a limit. You gotta be on the limit. I think in Most the guys did a really good job, and I had to shut off. Because we got a counter on the dashboard.
Oh, okay.
As soon as you come in the pits, counter on the dashboard goes down. So when they change tire, counter's still going. Get to the end of the pit lane, and you have to before to go out, it has to be 0. I think I got there with 1 second to go, so I just went and out.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Nice. Yeah, that's great.
So,
that's awesome. And 2024, what's the goal?
Just improve on last year. Improve on last year and hopefully get a podium at one point. I think that would be nice. It's been 2 years without one.
I'm sure you're itching.
So,
to see it, that's for sure.
It's been a drought. So last podium was the enduro race. So drought's ended.
There you go.
Hey, that's cool. That's really cool. Well, look, we know you're obviously strapped for time. We really appreciate yourself coming on.
Cheers,
it's been an awesome chat.
Yeah,
really has been.
Unreal.
We do have one little surprise for you.
Yeah.
Let me grab it.
All right. Let's see.
So thanks to Stacey at HJC Australia for sorting this out for us.
We got I'll open it up for you. This is one of one.
One of one. Just a little message from us to you.
Yeah, it's just a helmet, just to say,
thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for coming
cheers,
on,
guys.
and
Appreciate
good luck
it.
for the year. Look, it's a bit bodged, but that's all right.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate it.
No worries,
awesome.
man.
Thanks,
really
man.
appreciate you.
No
And
worries.
thanks as well to Brett and for helping set this up as well.
Absolutely.
So, it's really cool. Good luck for the season, mate.
Appreciate it.
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, good luck this round.
Yeah.
Cheers, Remy.
guys. Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks
mate.
for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.